let's start with our HBCU spotlight, and we are looking at Texas Southern 2018 Women's Bowling Champions. How about that? Right? All right, let me give you some information. Texas Southern edged Jackson State in a back-and-forth contest to win the first SWAC Bowling Conference Championship, to win its first SWAC Bowling Conference Championship since 2006. Jackson State won Game 1 of the first match, 153-151, to take the 1-0 lead in the best of 7. Texas Southern answered in the second game, winning 178-152 to even things at 1-1. But Jackson State took the lead back in Game 3 with a 194-163 victory to take the 2-1 lead. Texas Southern once again had an answer, winning Game 4, 182-175 to even the score at 2-2. Jackson State outpointed Texas Southern 212 to 210, putting itself one game away from a second match. However, Texas Southern pushed the seventh game by winning Game 6 with a score of 199-153. In the seventh and decisive game, the back-and-forth pattern continued. The seventh game was the closest game contested in the match. Texas Southern Samantha Krenner knocked down 9 pins in her final 2 rows as TSU edged Jackson State by just 1 pin, 189, to claim the conference title. Texas Southern's Brittany Torres was named the championship's most valuable bowler. Torres closed 12 out of 14 frames with 7 strikes and 5 spares in the championship match. Texas Southern will head to the NCAA tournament by receiving its first automatic bid in SWAC history. NCAA Bowling Championship will be held April 12th through April 14th at Tropicana Lanes in St. Louis, Missouri. Hey, man, that just remind me, man, I just went bowling not too long ago. And I pride myself, before I get to my bowling story. So, Texas Southern, we want to give them all the love that we can muster up to give them for edging out Jackson State with the 189 to 190? Yeah, 189 to 190 to 189 victory over Jackson State, and one time for Samantha Krenner, and then Brittany Torres for being, because Samantha Krenner won it for him, but Brittany Torres was the championships, the bowling championships most valuable bowler. So we want to make sure that our little man in the shirt, get off your feet, you do your job, but everybody get on your feet, put your hands together for the Texas Southern University 2018 Women's Bowling Team. Brittany Torres, Samantha Krenner, all the ladies coming out there with that 190 to 189 victory over Jackson State, out there doing like you're supposed to, baby. You dig, you hear me? One time for you women. Hey, man, it's time for the NFL to get it about their marijuana policy. In my weekly rant, I'm just not understanding why the NFL is so hell-bent on keeping the players on painkillers, these addictive painkillers, but saying that they don't want them to use weed because it's addictive and harmful, when we already have overwhelming evidence from the NFL of how the players get hooked on these painkillers, and these painkillers ruin their life because you're essentially addicted to opioids. And they do more damage to the person than the goddamn marijuana. Right? So the speculation is that the NFL is in bed with the pharmaceutical companies. The NFL and Big Pharma is in bed together. That's speculation. So let me read this to you from ViceSports.com. While former players are suing the NFL for illegally administering painkillers, whoever is supplying the league is breaking the law too. I was on the phone with a man several people told me I wouldn't be able to find while investigating the supply side of the NFL painkillers problem. The league has been accused in the lawsuit by former players of irresponsibly distributing fistfuls of prescription painkillers to players for decades, causing long-term harm and promoting an ongoing DEA investigation. I want to find out how team physicians were able to procure seemingly vast quantities of controlled substances. How do they get at all these pills, which are by federal law supposed to be meticulously tracked and prescribed? The man on the phone could help me understand. He was Jason Kim, the former pharmacist in charge of an unlicensed Southern California-based pharmacy called Sport Pharm that from at least June of 2009 to June of 2010 illegally provided prescription drugs to 81 team doctors across American college professional sports. After Sports Pharm and its parent company, RSF Pharmaceuticals, was shut down in June of 2010 by the California Board of Pharmacy for operating as an unlicensed wholesaler and distributor of controlled substances, Jason Kim disappeared. Kim may have been for at least a year the center point of the controlled substance abuse in the professional amateur sports world. Sport Pharm's name came up in the NFL painkiller lawsuit, and the company is a defendant in a lawsuit brought by former USC football player Armin Armstead, who claims he suffered heart attacks at age 20 as a result of improper administration of the painkiller Tortinol. I figured Kim might have details about supplying professional sports teams around the country with controlled substances, revealing the kind of logistical details the lawsuit's plaintiffs, the lawyers, and the DA would love to hear, the same details the NFL would love to bury. I found Kim working at a U.S. Army base. This is Major Kim. Hi, this is Major Kim. This is Major Jason Kim, I asked. Yes. Jason Kim from Southern California? Yes. This is the back and forth dialogue thing that I'm reading now. So, Jason Kim of RSF Pharmaceuticals, I said. Yes, that is he. Yes, this is he. That's what Jason said. I wanted him to say it again. This is Jason Kim of RSF Pharmaceuticals from Southern California. Yes, who is this? I told him I'm a reporter with Vice Sports looking into Sports Pharm and its involvement in professional sports. I'm not going to take this call, said Jason. I told him in a less articulate manner than I'm summarizing here that I wouldn't be the last person to find him, and that whether he liked it or not, he was in the middle of several high-profile lawsuits. I want to hear his side of the story, which just may be the most important one. Yeah, I never worked in sports, he said. I'm not going to take this call. Please don't call me again. And then Major Jason Kim, the mysterious figure behind all illegal sports pharmacy, who now is serving an army pharmacist, hung up. Kim had good reason to be skittish. On June 29, 2010, DEA agents and California Board of Pharmacy inspectors raided RSF Pharmaceuticals in Southern California. In San Diego, California. Two subsidiaries of RSF Pharmaceuticals, RSF Manufacturing, and Sports Pharm operated out of the same location. Neither RSF Manufacturing nor Sports Pharm possessed the required licenses to buy, repackage, sell, or distribute controlled substances. During the raid, DEA agents seized binders with the labels College Number 3, NBA Basketball, Minor League Baseball, Soccer, Team USA, Major League Baseball, AFL, College University, NFL Football, Hockey, and WNBA Basketball. Sports Pharm first attracted law enforcement attention when Kevin Ellison, then a San Diego Chargers defensive back, was arrested in May of 2010 for possession of approximately 10 unprescribed pills of Vitakin and a highly addictive painkiller that was recently reclassified as a Schedule II drug, putting it in the same category as oxycodone, opium, and morphine. The case led the DEA to the Chargers' now infamous former team Dr. David Cho, who wrote at least 50 prescriptions listing himself as the patient that were illegally filled by Sports Pharm. Per federal and state law rooted in the Substance Abuse Act of 1970, all pharmacists must log and report any transaction involving controlled substances as outlined by the DEA Pharmacist Handbook. Every pharmacy must maintain complete and accurate records on the current basis for each controlled substance purchased, received, stored, distributed, dispensed, or otherwise disposed of. In addition, pharmacists must record transfers of controlled substances between pharmacies. When investigators searched federal and state databases for RSF and Sports Pharm activity, they discovered that Cho was just the tip of the iceberg, the California Board of Pharmacy report states. RSF filed prescriptions for at least 81 different physicians in 27 different states, where the physicians listed himself or herself as the patient in the prescription. These prescriptions are written by team physicians for professionals of college sports teams throughout the United States and were apparently indeed intended for office use and distribution by the pharmacists, by the physicians to either team staff or team players, despite the fact that each prescription indicates that the patient was the physician who wrote the prescription. The dozens of substances Sports Farm was officially cited for distributing included local anesthetics, corticosteroid, creams, EpiPens. Creams and EpiPens have legitimate medical issues for sports trainers, including anti-inflammation and allergy treatments. Unlike Vitakin, none are classified as Schedule II drugs. A few have been used by athletes for performance-enhancing purposes. Former Balco mastermind Victor Conte told Vice Sports that he gave sprinter Tim Montgomery the drug epinephrine, which is adrenaline, when he won the 100-meter title in the 2001 U.S. Track and Field Championships. But several experts who reviewed the list for Vice Sports said the substances could be found in virtually any sports physician's supply and that none appeared particularly suspicious. So it's a long article. This is by Vice Sports. You can go to sports.vice.com and read the articles, the suppliers of the NFL painkiller addiction. But I'm reading this to give you some kind of background on where I'm going with this, because the NFL just put out the final policy, or just put out the thing basically reinforcing that the NFL would not allow marijuana use for players who are dealing with pain. But they are sticking with painkillers by the pharmacies. And so the first question came in my mind was, is the damn NFL in bed with goddamn big pharmacies? Because we know these huge pharmacies and these things like this, they don't give a fuck about nobody, man. Big pharma don't give a fuck about nobody but making money. And the same thing with the NFL. And if the players start using weed to treat their pains, then they won't need the pharmacists. And so that was my thing. Is the NFL in bed with the pharmacies? And seems like the NFL may be in bed with the pharmacies. I'm not going to go out on a limb to say the NFL is accurately in the bed with big pharmacy, but they may be. The NFL and the big pharmacy may be in bed together, and it seems like they may be, right? Because they don't have a problem giving people these addictive painkillers. You got a problem with weed. And to say that weed is addictive and all this other thing, come on, man. Everybody know what the fuck weed can do and what the fuck weed can't do. Come on, man. I just smoked weed before. Look. I was a motherfucking chimney when it comes to the weed. I got damn chimney. I was smoking weed all the time. I like weed. I do. I like weed. Right? I wish I was in a more position to really indulge in it like I want to. I ain't even gonna lie. I enjoy marijuana. But I also understand that, for one, weed ain't for everybody. And two, the shit that the NFL talking about with weed, that ain't true. So the NFL is still on that the reefer madness shit way back when TV didn't even have color. Right? So this is the NFL stance with this. They have the reefer madness outlook on marijuana, but they don't have a problem with the players becoming addicted to these painkillers that come from these pharmacies. So, I read this to you as well. Your teams, your favorite writers, wherever you want them. Excuse me, I'm reading the wrong part. My bad. The NFL's marijuana policy has been all over the news lately for criticism of the league's stance by the likes of Eugene Monroe, Derek Morgan, and Jake Plummer, to SI Films' upcoming in-depth look at Ricky Williams' relationship with the drug and the sport. But how much do we really know about the sport's actual testing, intervention, and discipline procedures? We dug into the details to bring you 5 things you didn't know about the current rule. And if you look, this is Sports Illustrated. So it looked like Sports Illustrated got it on SoundCloud with a little podcast with Ricky Williams telling his story with Greg Bishop and Samantha somebody. So the first thing we need to know, the league substance abuse policy predates its performance-enhancing drug protocol. Commissioner Pete Rozelle first introduced a loose recreational drug code focused on education in 1971. The preseason testing structure still used today came to being as part of the 1982 CBA, and suspensions did not begin until 1989. Separate language for the steroids didn't appear until 1983. Players outside the intervention program, those who never had a violation, are tested just once a year. Anyone under contract is tested once between April 20th in April and August 9th. The player is given at most a 3-hour warning before being visited by a collector who must directly witness the player providing the urine sample. So between 4:20 and 5:09, that's when they usually test for drugs. So that's the second thing. Third thing is for every player suspended under the policy, 5 to 10 others anonymously enter and exit the intervention program. Not even teams are made aware of a player's positive test until he is suspended, which only occurs after multiple violations. Team physicians, however, have the information in order to prevent cross-medication usage. For marijuana is handled differently from all other substances. The discipline procedures for marijuana abusers are less strict than violations of all other drugs. Clause 1.5.2c states that an additional offenses allowed before suspensions are leveled in cases involving marijuana. And until that point, fines for positive tests are less steep. Hundreds of people are involved in the program. There are generally 2 or 3 clinicians per NFL team who administer treatment plans for each player, yada, 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 yada. There are over 1,500 people who help, 15,000 people who help conduct tests. So, all in all, the NFL is against marijuana use, but the NFL is for the use of pharmaceutical drugs who have shown to be addictive. The NFL don't give a fuck about nothing but money at the end of the day. And we know this, but goddamn NFL, at least try to be slick about your shit. We know y'all fucking up y'all bodies to play this sport and make us millions of dollars, and we're going to give y'all percentage of these billions of dollars that we making. Fuck your body up. Even fuck your head up. Get CTE and all that shit done. But don't fuck up our money. Don't fuck up our image. You can take prescription drugs that are addictive, but you can't smoke weed. Because if you smoke weed, which is not proven to be addictive or harmful, well, I take that back. Weed, depending on how you smoking your weed, because if you smoking it out of like tobacco products, you could become addicted and stuff like that. My belief. But don't smoke weed. Fuck with pharmaceuticals. Fuck with this shit you don't even know what really in it. To ease your pain, don't fuck with this weed shit. Roger Goodell and them, y'all need to fucking grow up, man. There's too much information out to disprove that weed is bad for. Man, you think, motherfucker, we already know goddamn Martellus Bennett already snitched on everybody. So we already know motherfuckers, professional players smoking weed. We already know that. And then after the players play, they talk about it, how they go home, roll up one, roll 2 of them up, smoke 2 J's and be straight, go back and play the next day. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Now, I do think that the players should find different means of ingesting the marijuana. The smoking may not be the best on your lungs, being an athlete that you run up and down the court. But I know when I played, I was afraid to smoke weed when I played sports. Because I was just always taught that smoking and sports don't go together. So in the off season, I used to get blazed. I used to get blazed as a motherfucker in the off season. Can't make me want to go smoke a joint now, but I used to get blazed in the off season. But during the season when we was playing, I ain't touching no weed. I ain't touching none of that shit. After I stopped playing ball, my weed activities increased a bit, and I was a motherfucking chimney. But I don't have a problem with the NFL saying that they don't want their players smoking weed, but I do got a problem with the alternatives, or the biggest problem is you cool with your players being addicted to harmful substances, but you're not okay with your players using natural substances to heal themselves, to take the pains away from them. That's your biggest problem, them smoking weed to take the pain away from them, because they won't be in bed. You won't be able to be in bed with the pharmaceutical companies no more. I mean, it just seems like the NFL is in bed with these pharmaceutical companies, and that's what it is. And because they're in bed with these pharmaceutical companies, if you smoking weed or you doing some other things, some alternative things that could put their relationship with these pharmaceutical companies in jeopardy, then you're going to be crazy. Like I say, I don't have a problem with them saying weed is a banned substance. Cool. But just make them damn addictive-ass drugs banned substances as well. We know these things have long-term harmful effects on our players, but you like, man, forget all this. Man, come on, man. Been plenty of documentaries. There's been plenty of articles and papers and things and stories written up about this. NFL, y'all need to get off that bullshit, man. Come on, dog. Come on, dog. If you're going to ban all things that is going to be harmful to people, because we talk about long-term harmful effects. You're putting these players on these things, on these substances, on these pills, on all this bullshit that you got these players on while they playing, doping them up while they playing, which will have long-term harmful effects, long-term addictive properties, and you don't give a shit because you're getting your money. You're in bed with the pharmaceutical companies. That's what it seemed like. The information I'm coming across right now seems like the NFL is in bed with pharmaceutical companies, and I guess it's fucking me up because this is something I never really fucking thought about before. But now I'm thinking about it like, goddamn, big pharmaceutical companies are running in the United States. And the NFL is in bed with them motherfuckers. That's what it seems like. I'm not going to come out and fully say that because I don't have all the information to prove that. But from what I'm coming across, it seems like the NFL is in bed with the pharmaceutical companies, and that's some fuck shit because it's like we already know the NFL don't give a fuck about the players long term. NFL don't give a fuck about the players. That's why I keep reminding y'all players to be goddamn mercenaries, man. Stop with this idea that I have to give the game my all. No, the fuck you don't. Look at Curtis Martin. Curtis Martin don't like football like that. Curtis, my favorite Martin, one of the NFL's greatest running back, Hall of Famer, all that stuff there. If you're not an Hall of Famer, you're going to be a Hall of Famer. Curtis Martin he probably still don't even watch football. Like, he admitted that, man, I ain't watch football then. He ain't watch it. He didn't like football. He might like it more now, but Curtis Martin didn't even like football like that. Be a mercenary. Being a mercenary doesn't mean that you don't go out and play for your team. It means you're not putting your heart in your team. It's like, it means you're not going to lose yourself in your team. It means like you're not going to put, hey, man, if I don't do this for this team, nah, man, you're going to be there for your teammates. But you're not going to be there to get fucked over. And mercenaries don't get fucked over. Mercenaries are there to do their job, to get their money, and leave. Yes, I'm going to be about this victory, because if I'm going to be about this victory, it's going to hurt me. But guess what? I'm not in love with this fucking team. I'm not in love with this squad. I like to play the game, but I'm not in love with this game like that enough to put myself in a stupid position to be fucked over in the end. And that's what's happening a lot. So black people, we have to wake up because we are putting our players, our community, because we're training them from the beginning, and that's why I say black people, because I play football, and we're being trained from the beginning, from when we're young, to be fucking mindless zombies within these sports ramps. You got to give it all. You got to love it. Your team first, team first, team first, team first. Not get the team first concept, but shit, it's me first, motherfucker. It's me first. If I don't take care of myself, I'm no good to the team. If my mental state ain't right, I'm no good to my team. If my physical state ain't right, I'm no good to my team. But at the same time, when my team wants to get rid of me, they're going to get fucking rid of me. That's why I was never mad at LeBron for that decision. For how he did nothing. Like, I ain't mad at that shit. And fuck all y'all who mad at that. Y'all some bitches. That's why you mad, because you was a bitch. That man can go play for whoever the fuck he want to play for, however the fuck he want to play for however the fuck long he want to play for. LeBron James don't owe Cleveland shit. And I hope he leave again. Whether they win the ring or not, even though I got Cavs in 7, and I might be delusional, hey, whatever, but I got Cavs in 7. But LeBron, do what you got to do and get the fuck out of there again. Fuck you, Dan Gilbert. You know what, Dan Gilbert? You might be my motherfucking weekly rant next week. Depends on what J.R. Smith do in these upcoming games. And goddamn J.R. Smith. Goddamn J.R. Smith. You lucky this NFL shit. You lucky about this NFL shit. But I can't really give J.R. Smith the weekly rant, because if I give J.R. Smith the weekly rant, I got to get to George Hill and the referees. And it ain't fair to just put it all on J.R. Smith, even though J.R. fucked up real bad. But so did George Hill. But back to the NFL, they pussy-ass marijuana laws, and not laws, but like policies and stuff. Fuck y'all, NFL. Y'all want y'all players to be junkies. The NFL want their players to be strung-out junkies. That's what the NFL want. They want you to be a junkie. So I say to that, NFL, you can kiss the bottom of my nutsack. And I tell other people, y'all make sure you tell the NFL to kiss the bottom. If you're a dude, the NFL can kiss the bottom of your nutsack. And if you're a woman, the NFL can kiss your taint. Straight up, man. We don't have to take, man, fuck that. That's why it's even more important and prevalent for us to be serious about creating our own. We got the wealth. Us building our wealth has to be so important to the liberation of, because when you got the money, you can buy your freedom. Literally. Fuck you, NFL, and your drug policies and everything you stand for. Fuck you, Roger Goodell, and all that stuff there on the anthem policy and all this shit here. NFL, y'all out here fucking up. And basically what the NFL is doing is making sure that they please white men, closeted white men who appear straight in public, but we know they be closeted down low dudes. So appear to those men who uphold and exhibit white supremacy, everything. That's who the NFL is appealing to, and the white women who support it. So, yeah. Fuck y'all and go to hell.